Okay, guys, so we got cut off, but we were analyzing a property. It was this fourplex here in Miami-Dade. We had put the information in. I think that we were looking at the actual pictures. Okay, so here we go. All right, so it's in Miami Beach. Be nice if they told us exactly which one it is, but it looks pretty. There it is. Okay, so flat roof, doesn't look very new. Okay. The inside doesn't look very new at all. Okay. All right, so what do we know about the property, guys? We know it's a premium, they say. 4-unit multifamily value add opportunity in the heart of North Miami Beach. 7710 Carlisle, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. They say all 4 leases are month-to-month, providing maximum operational flexibility. It also means no security for the long-term rent, right? Unit offering immediate upside potential through modest rent adjustments to market levels. NOI increase potential of approximately 20% at stabilized market rents. So it's interesting. They're throwing all these terms out there, but they're really making no sense out of them, right? Because the NOI is irrelevant, net operating income, because they're not telling us what expenses they're considering in their NOI, right? And they say NOI increase potential approximately 20% at stabilized. NOI increase potential of approximately 20% at stabilized market rents. So they're saying that once we stabilize the property, we're going to be able to get 20% more. How? The question is how, right? If right now you're on a month-to-month lease, usually month-to-month leases are about 20% more expensive. So if anything, if you're renting it out right now at $1,000, right, because you're on a month-to-month lease, I could probably expect to be able to find somebody, a good quality tenant, at $800, right? So I'm going to get a haircut for renting it on long-term, because the trade-off, right, for anybody, right, looking for an apartment is hey, I'm going to pay less money, but I'm going to have to live in this place for a year, versus, hey, I'm going to try this place out for a month. If it doesn't work, I could go anywhere else. And so usually those people, they're going to pay more money because they're going to have that flexibility where they get the flexibility, the tenant gets the flexibility of dipping once the month is over if he didn't really like it, or like you as a landlord. So that's off. So that's a red flag right there. All right. But that being said, let's look at the deal itself. Do they tell us how much they're getting in rents? They really don't. Let's see. Maybe I'm wrong. Da-da-da-da-da. So all 4 leases. Da-da-da-da-da. All right. The unit mix is 2 2-1s and 2 1-1s. Okay. Now because they don't tell us what the rents are, let's take a look for ourselves. We see the quality of the product right here, right? So it's 2 2-1s. Miami-Dade County on average, the 2-1s are $2,300. So let's put that up there, because I think this property does look like he could get that. $2,300 here, $2,300 there. And then the 1-1s, the medium in Miami is $1,600. We'll put that there, $1,600 and $1,600. Whoops, $1,600, right? And that means that the property is producing about $8,000 a month, right, in long-term rents. So that's what you could expect to make on this property. And at $7,800, $8,000 a month, this property doesn't even pay for the mortgage, right? And if it paid for the mortgage, it'd be just the mortgage. If one day you have vacancy, guess what? It's gonna come out of your pocket. Okay, guys, you're not gonna have enough rent for another tenant to make up for it. And for you to wait to get the next tenant in place and then be able to cash flow again. So, but this property is not even near that. Not even near that, guys. It's a 0.61% on the 1% rule. Okay, so almost half of that. And then again, on the DSCR, debt service coverage ratio, it doesn't even cover your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. So for that reason, guys, the rents, they didn't really tell us much about the rents. As a matter of fact, they were misleading, I think, a little bit on the rents. So it doesn't pass the rent check either. And then as far as the return on investment, guys, you could see it right here. It's garbage. It sucks. It stinks. It's less than 10%, right? Plus you have the headaches of dealing with tenants and the Miami Beach where you have king tide and that flood. And I mean, look, you have this little step up. So if it floods more than 6 inches, 6 inches here and then another like 7 there. If it floods about a foot, you're done for, right? Your tenants are going to be calling you. There's going to be problems. So for that reason, guys, it also has the AE flood insurance, right? Like you're going to have to pay a little bit premium on that. So this property just doesn't make sense. We're going to go ahead, discard it, go on to our next property. All right, we're in Miami-Dade now. Let's see. In Miami-Dade County, an $800,000 duplex, okay. Those prices are somewhat reasonable. Taxes, they say it's $700 in taxes. They probably mean, to be honest, they're probably paying, or you would probably end up paying like $12,000 in taxes here. But let's just be reasonable, try to be reasonable here and put $10,000 in taxes. Interest rates, right? Interest rates, 6.37, we already talked about that. Square feet, it's 2,162. That's a nice sized duplex. It might have 2-3 bedroom, 2 baths, right? It's in flood zone X, which we like. Okay, let's look at the product itself. Okay, so it could use to spruce me up. It doesn't look, oh, that Jesus Christ. Wow, looks like out of a horror picture. Yikes. Wow, this looks like out of a movie. What the deuce? It's kind of scary. Definitely scary. What the? Dude, I'm getting goosebumps, guys. This is fucking, what the fuck? Yo. Yeah. Get you your lender and get you a freaking exorcist, bro. What is going on with this property? All right. let's look at the guts of this deal, see what's going on. All right, great investment opportunity for an investor or developer. This gated fixer-upper, no shit, is situated on a generous lot in a rapidly evolving neighborhood. Property offers endless potential. Yeah, endless is correct. The amount of like renovation that it needs is endless. Expansion or redevelopment. Existing structure requires significant upgrades, making it ideal for a full rehab or tear down. I love how these people word this stuff. Surrounded by ongoing growth and new construction, this property is poised for strong appreciation, convenient access to major a bunch of garbage. All right. So they told us that the unit mix here is a 3-1 and a 2-1, guys. All right, a 3-1 in Miami-Dade County, right? So right off the bat, guys, they don't tell us the rent, so we're gonna have to like rent check this on our own. So we're gonna skip right now the first test because we don't have any rents from their part, and we're gonna go straight to the rent check. Now on the rent check, it's a 2-1. The 2-1 average is $2,300, so we'll leave that up there. And then they say it's a 3-1, and the 3-1 is $2,700, right? Now, guys, this is right. Delete or 0, 0. This is median, right? Which means like middle tier, which means like not amazing, not bad, like, you know, acceptable. You'd live in it, right? Would you live in this freaking horror show? No, this is below tier, right? This is below tier. So this is below median. So guys, if I'm giving them median rents, right, which gives us $5,000 a month in rent, and it doesn't, where does it fall in the 1% rule? It's a 0.63 on the 1% rule. It doesn't even pay for itself, right? If you got tenants, if you got crazy people willing to pay you this for rent, it wouldn't even pay for your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, let alone cover you for, you know, saving for repairs and maintenance, which this property, they already told you, needs a whole lot of. So for that reason, guys, we're not even going to look into it. I mean, just for shits and giggles, you could look at it here, right? You could, what you probably could end up getting is for that 2-1, I don't know, get a crackhead in there for $600, and then that 3-1, I don't know, got somebody else that's like blind, right, and deaf and can't smell or see or anything, and then maybe they'll give you like, I don't know, $300 because that property's terrible. This property does not make any sense whatsoever, guys. So for that reason, I'll just totally discard it. I would not, you know, I would not look into this, guys. We're not really in, we shouldn't be in this space, right? Unless it's easy, quick fixes that we know we can come in here and raise value quickly. Like, and unless you have like a lot of building experience where you could say like, I could really turn this property around. I know how to do all this work. I'll do it myself. Like, I wouldn't get into it. There's, again, way better deals that are like way easier to fix up. So, you know, why try to do like hard work when there's properties that you don't have to do so much hard work for? So that being said, we're going to discard it. Okay, guys, our next property, a $1.2 million triplex. We're still in Miami-Dade County. They're paying $14,000 a year in taxes. Okay, square feet wise, it's on the bigger side, 3,264 square feet. Okay, they do tell us that they are collecting a massive $10,575 a month in rent. And guys, before I scroll up to the 1% rule, we should know, right? Because we should be expecting 1% of $1.2 million, and that should be a pretty good deal. That's $12,000 a month in income. And they're telling us that they're getting damn near close to $11,000. So I'm kind of excited for this property. Let's see if it actually makes sense. It's in flood zone AE, which isn't the best. We're going to pay a little bit of a premium there. But on the 1%, where does it fall? 0.88%, guys. I mean, anything that's 0.9 for me is already like a, ooh, this is going to be nice. Let's see, right? Let's verify. We have a couple checks to go here. Let's look at the pictures. Okay. So a little bit dated this home is. You can see that it's this house. Realtor didn't even bother to like let us know where it's at. We had to go like we're swallow it, right? But it's right here, right? I think it's it. I think that's it. Is that it, guys? Is it this one? We'll have to guess. Or maybe it's this one right here? I don't know. All right. Oh, there it is. Finally. I guess it's this one behind the tree. Well, good going, Realtor. All right. So there's a tiny little house. We can't see shit, guys. But all right, it's in an area, you know, it's close to like a marina or, you know, places where people, you know, put their boats. It has a big backyard. I like that it has a backyard. I don't like that it has these flat roofs. Not a fan of the flat roof stuff. Look at, and this is the reason why. Look at this, guys. Look how this flat roof, like, right? It channels into this side. So you're just having water like retaining there or flowing that way. And it's not good. I mean, I don't like it. I don't have to deal with, like, I like water just falling off the sides of the property, not being like routed into some kind of like canal on your roof. All right. So it's a little bit dated on the inside. Well, some parts are kind of renovated. You know, cabinets are painted. Different flooring. I mean, how many floors do you count already? 1, 2. I think that's 3 different floors. This one's not the same as, or is it? No. This floor is not the same as this floor. Look at this floor. It's all like squares. These are rectangles. So you have 3 different floors already going on in this property. Not a fan of that. Is that 4 different floors? Yeah. So 5 different floors. So this property still requires a substantial amount of work, I think, on the inside, or just a good amount of work. Let's look at the actual guts of the deal and see what it makes sense to do, or what they tell us. Income producing duplex, currently configured as a triplex. So it's really a duplex. Property features approximately 3,200 square feet of living space on a 7,000 square foot lot with parking for 6 vehicles. Unit mix consists of 2 1-1s, right? So 2 1-1s and 1 4-3. The property has been updated with a new roof, impact windows, updated kitchens and bathrooms, and new plumbing. It includes 2 electric meters and 1 water meter connected to sewer. That's nice. Strong in-place rental income exceeds $10,000 a month with potential for additional upside. Flexible layouts for multiple rental strategies. Opportunity to explore an additional unit. Buyer to verify with municipality. Located in a high-demand rental area with convenient access to yada, yada, yada. Okay, so they're saying that for the 4-3 guys that they're getting $6,000. Okay, and they're telling us that for the 1-1 they're getting $2,150. And for that other 1-1 they're getting $2,425. I can't wait to rent check this. Okay, 1-1s, median, right? We're in Miami-Dade County for a duplex. You could be all in front of the water that you want, guys. I don't care, right? This property, they say that it's this one right here, and they're in front of the water there. So freaking what, right? I actually don't want to be that close to the water if I don't have any benefits to that water, right? It's not like I could leave this property and then just have the boat in my backyard. These guys have boats in their backyard. You don't. They don't, right? And if they walk over here and try to get access, they're going to get slapped in the face. So again, a 1-1 in Miami-Dade, the maximum I've seen it go to is $23.50. And that's actually a duplex on the water where you could open up your backyard and like you have private access to, you know, like the water to, you know, it'll eventually lead you to ocean access. So, or ocean access, you know, waterfront. So that being said, it doesn't pass the rent check for me at all. And then the 4.3 that they say that they're getting $6,000 a month in rent, right? I don't see the added utility of an extra bedroom and an extra bath in that kind of a layout, okay? Actually being able to get $6,000, all right? Now, mind you, this again is not a real triplex, it's a duplex. So they already they're telling us that it's already operating in a like nonsensical, very much kind of way, right? Look at this, 2 units, right? It's really a 5-bedroom, 3.5 bath. So what did they add to it, right? Because they're saying that it's a 4.3, right? On one side, that only leaves 1 bedroom and 1.5 bathrooms. So where did they add all the other bedrooms? So it doesn't pass like the story check, even though it's not here, right? Like it doesn't pass that smell test for me. So it could be all the 1%, right? It looks good. It doesn't pass the rent check, and the rent check is what tells us here like something is really wrong with this property, right? Now, if this property did make sense, right? Because you could go out there and buy this property and just continue to operate it the way that this guy does. And if you don't care for that, then this property could be a good deal for you, right? If you could verify these rents, right? If you could verify these rents, it could be a deal for you because, I mean, dude, if you're able to buy this with, you know, a 10% down payment, it's going to get you a 16% return on your investment, right? The internal rate of return would be 16%. And the internal rate of return for a 25% down payment would be 14%. And that's if you buy it at high interest rates. If you bought this, you know, if you refinance it somewhere down the line at 4.5%, right? Like those go through the roof. So this could be a good deal for somebody. Guys, for me, it just doesn't pass the rent check. But it might be worth checking out to see if it's feasible to actually turn this into a real triplex, right? And if you could actually turn this into a real triplex and these rents are real, right? If you could verify these rents and you could verify that you could repeat these rents once the current tenants leave, right? Then this could be a good deal. But just the way that it sits, guys, I don't see it being that way. It's actually a 5-bedroom, 3.5 bath duplex, which means that it's probably a 3-2, right? And a 2-1.5, right? And then a 3-bedroom, right? A 3-2 in Miami-Dade. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. It rents somewhere in between $3,000 and $5,000. Let's say it rents for, I don't know, guys. Let's say it rents for the max of the 3-2, right? $4,750. And that leaves a 2-1.5, and that rents for the maximum of $3,400. And we put 0 here, right? All of a sudden, our real rent is about $8,000 a month, and that's in the red. And that barely pays about 110% of your mortgage. You could potentially get a mortgage. It's going to be on a higher interest rate, but you're going to have to prove that it makes at least 110%. And these are the maximum rents that I think that this property could actually get. So again, if you want to, go ahead and call the agent and go check out this property. But again, I think that there's a lower hanging fruit. So for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and discard this property. I'm not going to look at this anymore. Okay, next up. All right, what is this? This is a all right, guys, $559. This is a more accessible price, $559,000. What is this? Duplex in Miami-Dade. They're currently paying $3,833 a year in taxes. So that tells you that they've been holding on to this property for a while. Okay, almost 1,600 square feet. They say that they're collecting $3,850 a month in rent. Okay. Now, right away, that tells us it's borderline, guys. It's borderline. It might be just a C property, but right now it's still very much a D kind of property as far as the 1% rule is concerned, right? On the DSCR, it's not looking too bad. You could get somebody, if these are verified rents, to be able to give you a loan on this, okay? A little bit higher interest rates because it's not the 125 that we look for, but all right, there's just one picture, just one picture. Let's look at the guts of this deal. Let's make sure it's a duplex first and foremost. And it's not. It's a single family home. So we're already, you know, getting duped here, guys. Right? So it doesn't pass the first, besides this, right? It's a D kind of like assets, like a D plus, right? On the 1% rule. And it's maybe like a C on the DSCR. Well, it fails another test. And that's the correct listing, and that's that you can't actually buy this as a duplex because it's a single family home, centrally located duplex, 2-1 on one side, great investment. They say it's a new roof, owner financing with 50% down. Of course, they want to do owner financing because see, like, this is a lie. You cannot get FHA for this. This is not a true multifamily property. So. That being said, guys, we're going to go ahead. We're going to get rid of this property right here. We're not trying to get in trouble with the city for any kind of like crazy stuff here. So down to our last three properties, guys. This one is a $690,000 duplex in Broward County. They're currently paying $12,525 a year in taxes. Square feet, 2,040 square feet. Okay, rent. They don't tell us how much you're getting in rent. Let's take a look at the pictures and see the kind of product that we're getting here for $690,000. Okay, it looks a little bit dated here. Yeah, same thing for the kitchen. It looks a little bit dated, but you could paint these cabinets. You could change the handle from the middle to like closer to the top. You could change the handle itself, have something nicer, and you could leave this kitchen looking pretty good. Yeah. Not a fan of this format tile, which is like the 18 by 18 inch. Especially not a fan of that color. Sorry guys, I do like this. I do like this roof, the ceiling. It's nice, although it probably doesn't have very much insulation, just because so it probably gets hot in there. But the ceilings are nice. Okay, so let's see what's going on with this deal. Let's look at the guts of this. See what we have to learn here. Let's make sure first and foremost this is actually a multifamily. Nope, another person trying to trick us. It's another residential property. My God, that's two. Usually we have one per day, or like one every other day. That's two in a row, guys. So right away, they are lying to us. Duplex located in desirable Dells community of Coral Springs. Each unit features yada yada yada. Now let's see if it's a, I mean, it might be a single family home with an additional dwelling unit. Let's see if that's the case. It's not the case. One bedroom. Building sub areas. There's a porch and a utility room. That's 36 square feet. So God willing, they didn't put that there. It's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath with 1,200 square foot. That's what this house actually is. And they said they have living space of 2,040 square feet. So where did they get the extra 800 square feet? I don't know, but is it worth looking at? No, guys. If they did add another 800 square feet, they did it without permits. All right. So for that reason, I mean, you could call the agent and see what's going on. But again, there's low-hanging fruit out there. Go for that. Let's look at our second to last one, $639,000 duplex in Miami-Dade County. Taxes are $7,921 a year. Square feet, 1,944 square feet. Whoops, escape. Okay, the rents, they're telling us that they are collecting $4,285 a month in rent. It's in flood zone AE, so we'll know we're gonna pay a little bit more in flood. Let's look at the product, what kind of product we're buying here. Okay, so these windows are a little bit older. This is probably like a 1970s product here. But the floors are redone. The bathroom's nicely done. Yep, nice bathroom. Nice backyard. Okay, what is that, like a mango tree? You lighting guys, let me know. This light's horrible, but whatever, we could change it. But they thought it was so nice they'd have to take a picture, a whole picture of it. Okay, you have some space on the side. Count the flooring types. Look at these like these little buckles here. That's either like water or what is it, right? It's causing this buckling on the wall, on this drywall. Or maybe it's not drywall, maybe it's plastering, that's why the imperfections, but something to take a look at. But yeah, I was gonna mention, look at different types of floors. 1 floor, 2 floors, 3 floors right there. Okay. This kitchen is, you know, not looking very hot. Mini split. Okay. So let's see what's going on with this property. Let's look at the guts of this deal. Like always, or like most times, especially if it doesn't really check out very nice. All right, so this is a multifamily zone property. And it is actually 2 different buildings, okay? One is a 2-1 and the other one's a studio. Okay, 240 square feet and 1420 square feet. Let's see how they describe it. Great investment opportunity with 2 legal units within walking distance of Miami International and Inter's new stadium. Each property has plenty of parking, washer, dryer, da 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 da. So they say it's actually 2 2-1s. That one of the 2-1s has about 1,200 square feet and the other 2-1 has about 800 square feet. Okay, they said the big 2-1 rents for $2,600 a month. $2,600. And they said the small 2-1 rents out for $1,685. Well, guys, even if we give them the benefit of the doubt, that would be a stinker. It would be a 0.67 on the 1% rule. So instead of 1%, it would be a 0.67. And for the DSCR, it would just make you about, 5% more than what your actual principal, interest, taxes, and insurance would be every single month. And that is cutting it way too close for a bank to actually lend you money. Banks usually like to say about 1.1. Usually 1.25 is where it starts getting a little bit more comfortable and you get treated a little bit nicer by the banks. All right, let's do a quick rent check because this also sounds a little bit fishy, to be honest. A 2-1 in Miami-Dade, the median goes for $2,300. Now you guys saw what that property looked like. And I don't care if you're next to the Miami International, right? Because for $2,600, you're pretty close to going and getting a condo, right? Like in Miami, in downtown Miami with like Whole Foods downstairs and not a duplex. So, would you rather fork over another $400 and live like in a really nice like condo, or just a regular condo for $2,600, or would you live here? So it doesn't quite pass that rent check for me. Now the other one, right? 800 square feet paying $1,685. Yeah, I could see that. So again, guys, it doesn't really pass the rent check here. It definitely doesn't pass the 1% rule. Okay, that lets us know already that it's not going to really, we're not going to really be able to do much for this to actually beat the S&P 500. So this property is also one that we're going to discard, guys. So we've checked out 10 properties so far. This is our last one. This is our last property, man. Everything is relying on this property to make this day a little bit better. It's the cheapest one by square feet. Let's see what it has. $595,000, right? That's the purchase price, or the price that they're asking for. They're currently paying $11,376 a year in taxes. It's in Broward County. That lets me know that this price, they probably purchased this property very recently. Square feet wise, 2,504 square feet. And they are saying that they are getting $4,700, almost $5,000 a month in rent. Let's verify that. Because if that is the case, guys, right? $4,700 out of almost $6,000 is not looking all too shabby on the 1% rule, right? We're going to be at almost a 0.8, okay? And we're almost at that point where the bank might start lending you money to buy this deal if you could prove the rents. Let's look at the product. Okay, so it doesn't look amazing, right? But it looks like a legit duplex, like split down the middle. They say it's 2,500 square feet. It's got to be a really deep duplex because that looks really small to me. Okay, the living room is pretty big. There's a bedroom there and a bedroom there. Okay. It's nice on the inside, but it's very simple. This is not like very like high end. You know, they do have the 6-inch floorboards here, but the tile is just dated. So yeah. What do you guys think? I'm not a fan of the roof either. I don't like these McDonald's roofs. You might say, oh, Andres, McDonald's doesn't have the roof. McDonald's looks like all square. Well, I was born in 1985. So back in the day, like McDonald's had those crazy roofs, bro. Like those are McDonald's roofs. You don't believe me? Look them up. Actually, yeah. All right, so we keep looking at these pictures. This unit looks nicer though. You know, even though the tenant quality, like it's just so messy, dude. I guess I have kids. Yeah. All right, but you know, 2 different floors, okay. 1 floor for the bathroom, another floor for like the main house. Okay. That's nice. It says, limpien el baño, no sean cochinos. Van a agarrar gusano. Pójenme y se las limpio. It says, this says in Spanish, clean the bathroom. Don't be pigs. You're gonna get worms. Let me know and I will clean it. Yikes. All right, guys. That's our last property for the day. Let's look at the guts of this deal and see what the heck is going on here. Fort Lauderdale duplex represents a prime opportunity for investors and end users, ideally situated near the airports. Each unit offers a 3-bedroom, 1.5 baths, providing spacious and functional layout with lots of natural light. $2,500 square feet under air. One residence has been fully renovated, contemporary finishes, blah, blah, blah. Currently, both tenant occupied on annual leases. The units generate a strong rental income of $2,500 and $2,200 per month. The property also benefits from a newer roof installed in 2022, conveniently located near shopping, dining, entertainment. Okay, they said so. It's a 3, 1.5, right? 12,000 or 1,252 square feet each one. Okay. It's in a subdivision called Progresso. And let's make sure that this is a legit duplex. So yeah, okay, multifamily. And it has two units. Okay, and doesn't tell us the actual breakdown of the units, but that's okay. All right, so let's go here, guys. So days on market 0. When did they buy this property? Okay. You can see here, guys, they were trying to rent this out at $3,000 and they couldn't. They dropped the price to $2,800 and they eventually took it off the market. Same thing here. They put this unit, rented for $2,500. They couldn't. They eventually dropped the price to $2,000, and they took it off the market. They probably rented it off the MLS. Okay, they bought this unit They bought this property just in 2024. Okay, so it's been less than 2 years. They're already selling it. They bought it for $560. They're just trying to get rid of it. They probably put in about $35,000. They're trying to get that money out. Okay. So, I mean, the proof is in the pudding, guys. I think that they are trying to get the most amount of rents here. They said they took off the property at $2,500. So they actually have one lease out for $2,500 and another one lease out for $2,200. And so I mean, you guys could check it and see if you get $2,500 on each side. If you can, then maybe you could get $2,500. So you would get $5,000 in total. And this property could make a little bit more sense. But it still wouldn't be enough for you to comfortably get a mortgage on this. The rents, they kind of make sense, right? For a 3-1, the max is $2,500. So it's tough. It's tough. It's almost a 3-2. It's almost a 3-2. So then you could say like, hey, Andres, but yeah, it could be $2,500 because it's a 3-2. It's a 3-1.5. Well, yes and no, right? So I think that at $2,500, that's more than generous. I think that, probably saying $2,300 on each side is more realistic. Probably, yeah. And that's giving him another $100 because of this unit here at 22. I'm giving him an extra. And so that makes the property below 110. So, I mean, it doesn't quite really check out on the rents. It doesn't really quite check out on the DSCR, right? On the 1% rule, it kind of does. But look at these returns, guys. These returns are just really bad. And so for that reason, this property doesn't really quite make sense to me. The 1% rule is barely there. The DSCR is not. So that's pretty much a no-go just because we're not going to be able to get a loan on it, right? Even if it's in the orange for the DSCR. The rents don't really look very verifiable, right? You would need to do your homework on that. And then the returns on this is below 10%. You might as well just stick it in the S&P. So unfortunately for this property, it's also a hard discard for me. So with that said, guys, those were the 11 properties for today. 11 properties we saw. 11 properties were fails. And pretty much really hard fails. But that's the way it is, guys. That's the way it is. Sometimes, we're going to find 1 or 2 good properties. And sometimes 1 or 2 properties are going to be incorrectly listed. And then days like today where, you're going to have incorrectly listed properties. And you're going to have properties that just do not make sense to buy at these prices. So with that being said, guys, let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any comments. Leave it in the comments. And I will see you guys tomorrow.